Welcome to everyone. This is risk assessment of crane, the hazard analysis of crane. To begin with, the general hazards and risk controls. The general hazard refers to the hazard which might be happen very often, and the general hazard is firstly unintended movement of the crane due to clothing getting caught or tangled in the control levers and mechanical parts. This scenario might be happen if we leave off our clothes or something else and it might get caught in the mechanical parts or the control levers. In order to control the risk, we should take the risk control measure. And the risk control measure number one is when driving or operating the machine, whoever is the operator of the machine should not wear the clothing with dangling parts, like which parts are loosened, and the reason is which might get caught on the control levers or mechanical parts. So we can conclude that is the one who is operating the machine should wear the appropriate personal protective equipment as necessary. Now we can move on to the second general hazard, and the second general hazard is in unintended movement of the crane from errors in judgments. Like in order to detail view unintended movement of the crane from operating wrong controls or giving in wrong input or operating the wrong lever or errors in judgment might take to this general hazard number 2. In order to make sure it won't happen, we have to take some preventive measures, and the risk control measure for this hazard is the one should not operate the crane when you are necessarily exclusively fatigued or unwell. The one who is not feeling well cannot operate the machine, just in order to make sure he might not give an wrong input. And we should read the operator's manual and risk assessment thoroughly. Familiarizing yourself with all the controls before the starting the crane will help into understanding the crane very much. And one should not operate the crane in fatigue state. Read the operated manual and stop and standard operating procedures to know the controls of the crane before operating in order to make sure the risk control. Moreover, here comes our third general hazard. This is the most important and underrated hazard. Slow and inadequate response to the fires or explosions. This is the most underrated hazard which might be taken carelessly. Because of this, a major incident could happen. In order to control this measure, we have taken some risk control measures such as preventive measures. And the preventive measures are do the fire drill to keep alert. By taking these preventive measures, the people will be aware of the how to handle the incident when the real fire incident happened. Also, we can take another safety measure as a spread lessons on how to use properly handle a fire extinguishers. Even though if we are in a situations of fire and there is an extinguisher, if we don't know how to use it, then there is no use of the fire extinguishers. It can be only benefited when the people know the use of the fire extinguishers. By taking these preventive measures, we can really overcome this hazard.
Moving on towards general hazard number 4, which is high wind speed is a primary concern when using a crane especially. And to control that, we need the crane operators to monitor the weather and compare it with the wind speed limitations of the crane before starting up the crane. In other words, the crane operator must be alert towards weather changes and wind movements to avoid any accidents. Next is the examples of risk assessment as we have done, and you can see in this risk assessment we have our company name, which is under UMP, assessment carried out by the person's name, date of assessment, and the date of the next review, which is very important in this. And below are the following guidelines or SOPs that they need to follow. And with that, we thank you.